Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody.
I can't even describe. There are no words for how excited I am for this year.
I know. It's going to be an amazing year.
It's going to be so good. And we, I just want to say thank you to the people as well, just really quickly, because we came across, what was it, yesterday or something like that, that we had so many new reviews on our website and they were all so great. And I wanted to try and identify who had left these reviews. But if you did leave us a review on the website, then let us know because we want to say thank you because they're so great. And
Well, they'll be listening, won't they? Because they're
well, that's what I think.
fans of the pod.
But if
Yeah.
you are listening and you're not a follower on our Facebook or Instagram, then make sure you follow because we put out loads of stuff and we're always putting out thank yous and we want to individualize those thank yous. So check
Mm.
me out this morning.
Oh, no. And thanks for the comment that we had saying that we had sexy accents. I just
I
want to
was gonna
say, I know.
I was gonna bring that up actually. Someone said we had sexy accents, and honestly, I can't
No.
fucking bear it. I can't even bear our accents sometimes. I think I sound like
Oh,
such a commoner. It's like common as muck. And I
oh, I
can't
know.
even bear it.
I know. It's what you used to, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Somewhere,
that's
somewhere around the world, someone's going, oh, I love their accents. And we're like,
nah,
nah,
fucking getting a
nah,
bin,
mate.
mate. Nah.
Nah, mate. Nah. But thank
Never.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
anyways.
for thinking that and thank you for saying that. That is
Yeah.
lolly. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is our first episode back, and I put it out to the people. What episode do you want? And the people have chosen, and
Mhm.
so there you go.
Yeah. They have spoken, they have said what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pleased actually because they voted the same way that I was because I was like, I know what I want.
Well, I didn't want this one, but it's not up to
Then
me,
you
is it?
shouldn't
So
have suggested it.
I know. I honestly thought people would pick it because I'd never heard of this one, so I thought people were going to have
Mm.
picked the other one, and they them didn't. So
No, no, mugged you right off, didn't they?
honestly, must
Done
have
you dirty.
done me dirty, that did.
Done you dirty for the beginning of season
Oh,
4.
do you know what
I
else done
have.
me dirty?
Oh,
The random blams. I have got a random blam already, and it
so
came
have
about.
I.
All right, yeah, whatever. It it came about while we was watching There's a program on BBC. It's like the makeup artists, and it's all about makeup artists, and it's
Is it?
much
Is
better
it
than what.
glow up?
Yeah, glow up.
Love
Yeah,
that.
love glow up. It's much better than what I'm making it out to be because I don't really wear makeup. I don't know anything about makeup, but it's like special effects type thing. So on Glow Up, what we was watching yesterday, they was doing like the cast of Cabaret, the musical, and they were
Okay.
putting on these big beauty spots. And the one of the ladies went, "Why? What? Like, where? What was the origins of the beauty spot?" Well, I can tell you.
Oh,
So the origins of the beauty spot, which we all see in like Victorian paintings and
we
whatever
do.
else. Yeah.
Yes.
So basically it was because disease and famine left people scarred. So they would put a black like dot on
Was
their
it?
face to cover the scars, and then it became a fashion statement.
Oh.
So if they had like I don't know, chickenpox or something, or but like the plague where it left a boil on their face or something, they'd put a little black mark to cover up the scar, so people didn't know
Oh.
they had these diseases. And then it became a fashion statement, and that is the origins of the beauty spot. Well, fucking welcome. You've all missed about random blabs.
Goodness. So what about, because you only ever normally see like one or maybe like two.
Yeah,
What about if you saw someone that had like 20 on each cheek?
I think they were shunned.
That'd be like, what? You can't do that.
It's
You
like
can't
Haley
do
when she
that.
comes down,
You're
those
giving it
new
away.
fucking spot patches. What are they about?
You mean the ones that suddenly appear stuck all over the walls of the bathroom and like all over the sink and all that? And I'm like, why is the sink covered in yellow stars? Hate it.
We don't have them stuck
Back
everywhere, but
in back in the 80s, we just dealt with it.
yeah,
Just deal with it.
deal with your
Stop putting
spotty
all these
face.
pimple patches all over your face. Just wear your pimples with pride. Just get on with it. Can't be bothered with all these yellow stars everywhere. Although, to be fair, I was the one that purchased a
Hmm.
whole box of yellow stars
Yeah,
for Jess for Christmas. So, yeah, I've only got
we did the
myself to
same.
blame. Never mind.
What is your first random blam for 2026, please?
Well, I got one up and then I got lost in you talking about beauty spots. And I don't want to do this one because it's really it's a bit of a downer. Because I put in excuse me, I put in what was 2025 known for,
Oh,
and it's really boring, really
well, I
boring.
suppose it would be different in different countries, wouldn't it? Different things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads. There's all about like Russia and Ukraine and Japan and Namibia, and it's. I'm not saying that that's boring because obviously that
We
is
don't want it in
people's
the pod,
lives,
do we?
but we don't want it in the pod.
Nah.
We don't want it in the pod. We don't want to bring that kind of negativity. So bear with
So
me
let's
two
discuss
seconds
the
and I'll get.
murder of.
Yeah, we don't want that kind of negativity. So the brutal murders of 18 people. Right. If you could just,
Bam. Do you want me to bam?
yeah, if you
All
could
right.
just do that.
So something hilarious happened earlier, yesterday, or whenever it was, the other day.
Hmm.
And Josie was reading Harry Potter to Isaac. This isn't what I was gonna. You don't
Oh
know
my
this
God.
story, but
Oh
that did
no,
happen.
but no, but do you know what? That's gonna be my random blame.
All right.
I've
So
decided.
Josie was reading Harry Potter. It's his bedtime routine. We read a chapter of the book and then he goes up to bed.
I
And
know.
instead of saying Lord Voldemort, she said Lord Voldemort. It's
Oh.
killed me. Lord Voldemort. So whenever we reply now, instead of lol, we put Voldemort.
Voldemort.
It's tickled me, Lord Voldemort.
Oh, you love that.
I do,
And
yeah.
another thing on that note, my random blame is going to be what happened on one of these instances when Josie was very lovingly reading Harry Potter to Isaac. So, let me begin. So, me and Sarah, obviously, we're texting each other and we're talking about pod stuff. We're talking about website stuff. Honestly, it really tickled me when this happened because I was like, "Am I missing something? Like, you know, like I'm speaking to mainly our listeners because I know Sarah, I know you have this anyway, but our listeners, do you ever have those moments where you think, what's just happened? Like, have I just zoned out and missed like potentially the last like half an hour of reality? And then I've just been dropped back into reality, and people are like looking at me going, well, what do
Hey.
you think? And you're like, oh, it was kind of one of those moments. And I was thinking, basically, like, what the fuck just happened? I can't even find the message. But we was texting each other anyway, and we was talking about the website and saying, what do you think about putting this on there? What do you think about maybe doing this on our first season back? What do you think about this? And then all of a sudden, I said to Sarah, can you like maybe just go on this website, have a look at some bits and pieces and let me know? And she was like, okay, doing it now. Then I got a message, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's really, really, really long. But it starts off with he was convinced that this letter has to be Dumbledore explaining everything that was happening with the Dementors, Mrs. Fig, what the Ministry is up to now, and how he and Dumbledore intended to sort everything out. And then it goes on and on and on. And then at the end, it carries on with, Dumbledore stuff. And I thought, I'm pretty sure this is Harry Potter. Why is she sending me this massive long message about Harry Potter? And it's talking about the Patronus and all that. And then it says, um, the Dementors appearing in Little Whining, said Uncle, can you just go upstairs, brush your teeth, get yourself ready, brush your hair, please? And can we just walk up the stairs properly for the 100th time? Thank you. And I thought, what? I'm pretty sure I don't remember that in Harry Potter. And I just I sent Sarah a message saying, huh? What? What's that? So what had happened was Sarah had texted me and put her phone down on the side without, I'm guessing, like shutting it down, closing it, locking the screen, something like that. And for some reason, Sarah's phone then started listening to Josie reading Harry Potter to Isaac and then saying to Isaac, you need to go upstairs, brush your teeth, wash your face. Can you just walk up the stairs like a normal person for the 100th time? Thank you. And then it sent me that in text to my phone. And I was sitting here all these miles away thinking, what's just happened? What should I know what Sarah's talking about?
No.
And then there was many, many laughing faces and yeah, oh my God, and that's hilarious.
Since when did that become a new feature of the update? In that you can talk into it to text. And I've no idea what happened, but it literally picked up Josie reading this bit of Harry Potter.
It was
And
a
then
long bit as
afterwards,
well.
yeah, it must have been going for ages because I was
Yeah.
doing what you asked me to. I was looking at the website. And then Josie finished reading, and then she was like, right, off to bed, up you go, walk up the stairs, brush your teeth. And then that was the end of it. And then Isaac went upstairs, and me and Josie sat in silence. And then the next thing I know is that I get a message going, what? And I was like, what?
Huh? What are we talking about? And she was like,
Honestly,
what? What are you talking about?
it was much funnier than we've described it.
Oh, it was funny because it was just, yeah, it's probably really boring for everyone else. So I'm sorry about that. So starting the year with really boring
So
story.
as we mean to go on.
Really sorry. But many, many, many of you have said that you feel like we're just mates talking to you. So if you're mates with us, these are the kind of gems that you get.
Yeah. Ford Loldemort, pass it on.
Exactly.
Right, random Lamson, done.
Done. Finished your drink already?
I have finished my drink race because we've been talking for so fucking long.
Oh, I know. Never mind. All right. Well, do you want to? Should we just crack on an episode then?
Oh,
All right. Morning.
morning.
Morning, morning.
And for those that are listening, Kate is wearing her morning t-shirt
Oh,
and
yes.
a perplexed hat, and it looks wonderful.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's absolutely wonderful. And we are going to just dive right into the story because we have
Nice.
been rambling for so long. So
Mm.
as I mentioned earlier, put out a post on socials. What do people want as their first episode? And they have suggested The Bell Witch. And so that is what
Love that.
I am doing today.
Nice.
So just a pre-warning, despite this being the most documented American haunting ever, sources on this topic vary massively. So I've done my best to piece it together, but if you have listened to it elsewhere or you do know the story, there are differences out there. So it is from the 1800s, and unless you were there, you don't fucking know. So
yeah, and we would just like to say we weren't there.
No.
So until we speak to someone that was there, shut your face.
So this story centers around the Bell family and John Bell in particular. So John Bell was born in Edgecombe County in North Carolina in 1750. He was an apprentice barrel maker in his youth, but decided to pursue a career in farming in his later years. At the age of 32, John married Lucy Williams, then aged 12.
What?
I was waiting for that.
I was listening to the story, playing with my capybara, and I thought I heard you say 12.
She was 12 years old when they got married.
12?
Yep. Which was, I'm guessing, the sign of the times. That's what they used to do. It's obviously not okay
Yeah.
here, but that is what they used to do.
Yeah.
They settled into married life in a little farm that John had already owned. And his farming business in particular was very lucrative, and John earned himself the title of one of the most successful planters in the area.
Hmm.
Despite her age, John and Lucy soon welcomed into the world 4 children. I say soon. I actually think she was in her 20s when she had her first child. Based on
Okay.
some of the reports and the ages and things like that, I actually think that she wasn't 12 when she gave birth, but she
No.
was at an appropriate age. Um,
Okay.
so they welcomed into the world 4 children: Jesse, John Jr., Drury, and I, I did put the other one in there, but I think the other one died at a very young age.
Oh,
And I can't remember their name, but they had 4 children. And they lived
okay.
on the farm until 1804, when, after a few seasons of a terrible crop yield, John decided to move his family cross country to an area called Red River in Tennessee, which is now known as Robertson County. In the 1800s, Tennessee was a wilderness of just dense forest, and the closest neighbor was miles away. But it seemed to be quite a prosperous place. Like, a lot of people seemed to be moving there around that time.
Mm.
So John wasn't deterred. And from what I can gather, John's farm did very well. So well that he was able to buy more land from the people of the community and managed to amass 328 acres of land.
Mm.
And he and his sons cleared these lands of the dense forest and used them for planting and for farming, and then his wealth just grew. John and Lucy welcomed 5 more children into the house, and they now had a total of 9.
Goodness.
And I won't go into details of all of them and their names and dates of births and ages and whatever else, because it's not pivotal to the story. And quite frankly, there are too many. There's
Yes.
too many
Too
children.
many.
But I will mention Elizabeth, or Betsy Bell. She was born in 1806 and one of only 2 girls out of the 9 children, and she was John's little girl. So John was seen as quite a prominent figure of the area and became an elder of the Red River Baptist Church. His house was an open home for passers-by when they needed a place to sleep. He held dinner parties for the neighbours that lived miles away. And many people boasted of the lavish dinners that they had at the Bell House. So he sounds like a very well-respected man of the town.
Yeah.
It turns out John was excommunicated from his church due to shady land dealings.
Ooh.
So conning people out of money to buy their land. And I don't really know the ins and outs of what he did. I don't know whether he bought their land and then like rented it back out to them or something, but he ended up like conning people out of money or charging them loads of money and interest and things like that.
Where the
So
term bellend came from.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bellend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was kicked out of his church, and being kicked out of the church was a massive thing back
Mm.
then. And like I say, I'm not really too sure why, but it does give us a little glimpse into John Bell's character. And the story of the Bell Witch starts on a day in 1817. John Bell was out in one of his many cornfields, walking between the long stalks, checking his crops for insects and whatever else farmers look for in their crops, when something in the distance caught his eye. Unsure of how he hadn't noticed it before, it was sitting very still, very silent, in the middle of the corn row that John was standing in. And John looked at it and then looked at it again. And then he made it out to be like a very large black dog, but something didn't feel right. So as John continued to walk towards it, he noticed that the big black body didn't quite match the head. There was a short, stubby nose, long, dangly ears, and it was unlike any dog John had ever seen. To him, it looked more like the head of a rabbit. So instinctively, he slung his hunting rifle around off his shoulders and fired a couple of shots towards it. The animal ran off into the cornfield and vanished. Now, as John walked back towards the house, he thought to himself how odd that creature had looked, appearing out of nowhere. And as he thought, he realised this hadn't been the first time that the Bell family had encountered something odd appearing on the farm. His son Drew had reported seeing a strange-looking bird perched on the fence of one of the fields, and he described it as being of extraordinary size. And as he approached this bird, it vanished. His daughter Betsy had once confided that while playing in the forest surrounding the land, she had seen a little girl in a green dress swinging by her hands from the limb of an oak tree. And when she went to take a closer look, the girl vanished. Now, I didn't really know how to include this bit because I didn't know the right terminology to say, but the Bell family had quite a large amount of slaves.
Ah,
I say it was a sign of wealth. He was a wealthy man. He had quite a lot of slaves living on the farm. And one of the slaves was called Dean, and he reported frequently being followed around the farm by a large black dog. That evening, after John had gotten back to the house and put the odd sighting out of his mind, John started hearing an odd sound, a pounding or knocking on the outside walls of their log-built house. So he got up to look outside, fearing that someone was trying to break in, but saw no one. And throughout the evening, the knocking continued. Each time, John or one of his elder sons would jump up and race outside to catch whoever it was that was playing tricks on them. Yet no one was ever apprehended. And the banging continued for days, growing more ferocious, more urgent. Each time the children would sit terrified in their beds. John and Lucy would have to calm the children down each night for them to get some sleep, night after night, until one day it just stopped. And the phantom sounds began happening inside the home. And it started in the children's bedroom as they tried to sleep. Scratching, scraping, gnawing sounds. Sounds like rats or mice nibbling on the bedposts. Sounds that stopped as soon as the children got up to investigate, and then started again as soon as they were back in bed. Sounds that were not uncommon in a log house surrounded by farming fields. But what was uncommon was the fact that every morning the bed was checked for signs of the previous night's rat attack, but there was never any markings.
rat attack.
Each night, the noise would continue, first in the boys' bedroom for a few hours, then moving on to the girls' bedroom, then moving from bedroom to bedroom, ensuring that the whole house's sleep was completely disturbed. Each morning, the rooms were checked for signs of a rat or mouse, but evidence of either were never found. The family were perplexed, but not concerned. The youngest of children, Richard, described being completely unfazed by the noise. After all, it was just annoying, a bit of a nuisance, but the family soon learned to cope. Until the noises started to change. The nibbling, gnawing sounds turned to the scraping and scratching sound on the wooden floorboards. And it was soon apparent that this wasn't a sound coming from the rats that they had blamed for the rest of the sounds. This was a heavy scratching sound, like a dog pawing at the floor, like real thick nails scraping the floor. Once again, the noise would stop whenever somebody got up to investigate. restarting as soon as they were back in bed. Each morning, the room would be inspected, and no evidence of the scratching was ever found. The nighttime sounds seemed to increase in frequency and severity as the weeks went on. What started as nibbling, gnawing sounds escalated to the sounds of stones being dropped on the floor, a metal chain being dragged around the room, chairs being tipped over. Every night for weeks on end, their sleep was disturbed by the noises. They learned to grab naps when they could and just carried on with their day. These noises were unexplained, but not terrifying. The family weren't scared, just annoyed. Until the noises changed again. No longer unexplainable knockings and bangings, but now the unmistakable sounds of a person coughing, choking, gagging, gulping, lip smacking. A new sound added every night, dragging on until 1 a.m., 3 a.m., allowing the family hardly any time for sleep. The longer it went on, the more it happened, the stronger the noises became. Now, not only happening at night, the family could hear soft mutterings in the day. A voice, multiple voices, whispering, talking, unintelligible, but unmistakable. And the sounds of dogs, barking, snarling, and fighting. But again, these noises were just noises, nothing to be feared. Certainly nothing that needed to be communicated to anybody outside of the home. This was just something that went on in the family home, and that was that. As time went on, the strange occurrences started to become less annoying and more frightening. While trying to get some sleep one night in amidst the scratching and gnawing sounds, the youngest boy noticed his bed covers had started to fall to the floor. He grabbed at it to yank it back up into place and let out a frightened yell when the bed covers didn't comply with his yanking. It felt to him like something had hold of the other end and was pulling it off the bed. Shrieks of fright echoed around the house as if in turn, as one by one, the bed covers were ripped off the beds. No faster could they gather it up and put it back in place than it would be torn off them again. And it started to seem to John and Lucy that perhaps there was something sinister in the house, something malevolent. And its malevolence seemed to be targeting two people above all else, John and his most favoured daughter, Betsy. And this malevolence started to manifest physically. I've put that word in loads because every time I see it,
you need to practice it
I
and then
needed to
show off
practice.
that you can say it. Yeah.
Every time I see it, my brain goes malvolent. And then I have to pause a little bit before I get the correct pronunciation.
Malevolent.
So this malevolence started to manifest physically. The malevolence was so malevolent that so Betsy would be pinched regularly. Evidence of the attacks glaringly obvious when the red marks appeared. Slaps to her face. Witness reports seeing the red marks appear shortly after Betsy would let out a shriek of pain. Betsy's hair would be pulled as if trying to yank it off her head. And this did happen to the rest of the family, but more so to Betsy and John. She seemed to receive the worst of the attacks, often saying that it felt like someone was sticking thousands of needles in her.
Jesus.
John's health started to decline. Lack of sleep was one thing when trying to run a busy farm, but John often becomes struck down by something that left him unable to eat. He described it as feeling as though there was a stick sideways in his mouth, and he would try to put food in his mouth, but he felt as though it was just being pushed back out again. And this went on for weeks at a time before it would vanish and he would be okay again. And as you can imagine, the lack of food for days on end, lack of sleep and everything left John very weak. The Bells had been plagued by these mysterious happenings for almost a year now, keeping it completely secret to themselves, hoping that it would just stop or die down. Instead, it was increasing, and John decided now was the time to start asking for help. He shared what had been happening inside the Bell home with his nearest neighbour and closest friend, James Johnston, a devout Christian and considered to be an expert in Christianity and the Bible by the community, despite his inability to read and write. On hearing news of this malevolent activity, James was rightly sceptical, believing the activity to be none other than a prank performed by one of the 9 children. So he and his wife Jane decided that they would spend the night at the Bell home. The family had a lovely dinner together, and James led the family in prayer, and then they all went to bed. At first, all was quiet in the house, but then the noises started, and all of the noises started. It was as if, because there was a new audience to terrify, that the disturbances ramped up to incorporate everything that had been
Mm.
happening into this one night. The gnawing, scraping, the chains, the cover pulling, the chairs falling, you name it, the Johnsons experienced it. And James started listening intently, hearing the muttering, the noises, the lip smacking and gulping and inhaling. He said he could hear the inhaling through teeth. And he came to the conclusion that this must be some sort of intelligent agent. And he decided to communicate with it. And he asked this intelligent agent, "In the name of the Lord, who and what are you and what do you want?" And everything became quiet. Activity ceased, as if scared off by the confrontation. But not for long. Activity in the house commenced with increased vigour. Betsy was attacked regularly, screaming in pain from the physical slaps and hair pulling. And Mr. Johnston concluded that it was a preternatural or supernatural being of intelligent character based on the being able to understand language. So he urged John to go public with the happenings and everything that had been going on at the Bell home and, quote, try all means for detecting the mystery. And so go public he did. All of the neighbours were invited round, each one as sceptical as the one before, each one determined to be the one to crack the case, each one leaving with their towels between their legs. They would ask the entity questions that could be answered in the form of knockings, numbers of taps, much like what we do today. How many persons in the room? How many miles to a certain place? How many horses in the barn? And each time the entity answered correctly. Tap, tap, tap. Anyone that came to the house and expressed their opinion on what was happening or tried to expose the entity as just a trick would receive a harsh slap in their face for their efforts. A slap that was seen, heard, and felt by any other witnesses in the room, and no one could explain what was happening. So perplexed were the people that they formed committees to try and get to the bottom of what was happening. Claims that Betsy Bell was to blame became the first and foremost conclusion, and as Betsy was receiving the worst of the abuse, she was sent to various neighbours' houses to escape the torment. However, torment only seemed to follow her, meaning more people were witness to what was happening. And even in her absence from the home, the noises still continued in the Bell house. So her name was crossed off the list. The unintelligible murmurings and mutterings that used to be heard now started taking shape, with people asking direct questions, demanding to know what it wanted. The entity started to respond in low whistles, broken sound, as if trying to talk back. And with each passing day, the noises grew louder and clearer, giving way to a whispered voice, distinguishable words, until it gained such strength that it was able to articulate sentences that could be heard by everyone in the room. News of the talking entity travelled far and wide, reaching curious people from all over. Travellers would come to see the spectacle, asking questions, the same questions asked by James Johnson's. Who are you and what do you want? Until the voice replied with, I am a spirit. I was once very happy, but have been disturbed. On another occasion, in answer to the same question, the voice replied, saying that they were a person buried in the nearby woods that had been dug up and the bones scattered, and that a tooth had ended up under the floorboards of the bell house. On hearing this, John remembered an incident whereby they had cleared an area of land and found an Indian burial ground of just a few graves. One of the boys had brought a jawbone back to the house, and in messing about with the jawbone, a tooth had come loose and had fallen down a crack in the floorboards. So the floorboards were removed and the dirt beneath sifted to find the missing tooth, but no tooth was ever recovered. The voice now had grown in strength and confidence and was now able to speak freely and intelligibly, often singing hymns or quoting scripture from the Bible. When the voice spoke, people described it as coming from everywhere but nowhere, and no one could explain how this was possible. Back in the 1800s, anything unusual or unexplained was put down to what, Kate?
Bollocks.
Witchcraft. Oh, that's the same thing, really.
Same thing, yeah.
And thus the entity became known as the Bell Witch. The Bell Witch was able to know things that it had no business knowing. It would speak about different happenings in the village that hadn't reached the grapevine yet. It would discuss other people's business, gossiping, essentially.
Gossip, yeah,
it was,
gossip.
It was gossip. It even weighed in on family discussions. One evening, John Bell Jr. was contemplating a trip to North Carolina to oversee the sale of some of his father's land. It would be a long trip, and with him being absent from the farm for quite a long time, it was a matter that was discussed by the family and also discussed by some of the neighbours as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was then that the witch chimed in to the conversation.
She was like, no.
Excuse me. Excuse me, I have an opinion on the matter.
Excuse me, no.
No. And they chimed in that John Bell Jr. should not make the trip, saying that he would run into bad luck, that the sale wouldn't be completed, and he would come back empty-handed. The witch said that John Jr. should instead stay, because a young, wealthy woman would soon be visiting the area, and that John would, quote, be pleased with her.
Oh, I see.
So this was, of course, laughed off. And John decided to go on his long trip to North Carolina on horseback. Shortly after he left, a young, wealthy woman turned up in the county and left before John Jr.'s eventual return. A return that saw him empty-handed after a very long, hard trip.
Well, you were told.
Who'd have thought? The witch once even quoted, word for word, 2 sermons that were preached at the same time on the same day that were supposed to have happened 13 miles apart. So the Bell Witch was turned into a sort of tourist attraction.
Yeah.
With people coming from all over. You got to think, in the 1800s, nothing was going on. Like, people used to go and watch public executions because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah,
so
our podcast hadn't started yet.
Absolutely, there was nothing for the people.
No.
So it was quite a spectacle. So people would travel horse and cart all over the place. So they were desperate to find out what the witch's purpose actually was, as she would say something different each time she was asked. And one time she finally gave an answer that seemed the most truthful than anything that she had said so far. Who are you and what do you want? She was asked for the 100th time. My name is Kate Batts, and I am here to kill John Bell. And it seemed to everybody that that's exactly what she was trying to do. John and Betsy were suffering horrendously. Betsy, although still being physically attacked, started suffering fainting spells, and she would gasp for air as though being suffocated and then fall lifeless to the floor. And when she eventually caught her breath and came back round, the suffocation would just start all over again. And John's health was now seriously jeopardized. His inability to eat was making him very poorly and weak. And in just over a year, he was now a shell of the man that he had been before the witch's first appearance. He had started suffering from contortions of the face, described as twitching and dancing of his flesh, seizures, and he would be bedridden for days. And these ailments were put down to the witch's obvious dislike for John. But
Can
she
I just
wasn't.
say, distortions of the face? Is there no
Yes.
connection between Bell's palsy?
Oh, stop it, Kate. Stop it. Moving on. Yes,
Moving
so
on.
it I will talk about Bell's palsy later.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, the witch wasn't all bad. She
Hmm.
seemed to like John's wife Lucy. When Lucy was ill for a while, the witch spoke fondly with her and brought her items to eat. And when she started getting better, the witch was very pleased, and she would speak about how pleased she was, or she would speak about how to help Lucy and how to make her feel better. Bring her these, bring her that. Um, and all of these accounts are written down in great detail and are said to have been witnessed by many people in and out of the house. There was always somebody in the house. There are tons of witness statements regarding Kate, too many to include. Tons from the slaves on the farm, because there were so many slaves on the farm and they all witnessed these accounts. Um,
Oh.
one such witness account came from a very reputable man, General Andrew Jackson. So, three of the Bell's oldest sons had actually fought under him in the Battle of New Orleans, and news of the witch haunting the Bells had reached him. So he decided to travel a great distance and offer his services. He gathered up a few of his men, one of which claimed that he was a witch tamer and had killed evil spirits before with his silver bullets. So they were quite confident and boastful that they could get rid, or they could rid the Bell family of their witch after so many before them couldn't. According to the records, as soon as the men and their wagon reached the edge of the Bell's land, the wagon became stuck. And not just like stuck in the mud, but just stuck. The wheels wouldn't turn anymore. The horses
Hmm.
couldn't pull the wagon. It was as though it was cemented to the ground.
Hmm.
After troubleshooting the issue, General Jackson, scratching his head, eventually exclaimed, "By the eternal, boys, it must be the witch!"
Yep.
From out of nowhere, but all around, a disembodied voice filled the air. It was the witch, and she said, "All right, General, let the wagon move on. I will see you again tonight."
Ooh.
An ominous message that
Yes.
didn't seem to deter the men.
Hmm.
That evening, with all men in tow, no activity had started yet. The witch had said nothing to the men since the wagon was stuck. So the apparent witch tamer was, for lack of a better word, giving it the big un. Oh, the witch must be scared because I'm here. She wouldn't dare show up while I've got my silver bullets with me.
Oh, don't be doing that.
And all the other men agreed, rallying around, yeah, she's
Yeah, we ain't
scared.
bothered.
Yeah, in her
She's a
face, we'll
slag.
vanquish her if she showed up, blah, blah, blah. When all of a sudden, the supposed witch tamer began to scream. His body jerked about violently in different directions. He yelled that he was being stuck with hundreds of pins. Visible handprints appeared on his face and about his body. The next thing he knew, he was flying out of the front door and had felt as though a big, strong boot had kicked him up the arse and out of the door.
Yeah.
The witch spoke to the room, venting her anger at the fraud that had claimed he could vanquish her. And as her voice filled their heads, she told them there was another fraud in the room, but would reveal them the following evening. The witch then seemed to leave for that evening. The other men that had arrived with the general all begged him to leave. They was like, "Can we go now? Is that all right? Do we?"
Oh, well, it's been a great day. See ya.
It's a long journey back. Let's get a head start. But he didn't want to bow down to the witch. He wasn't scared. They would stay again another evening and face this witch. However, the next morning, the men were seen in the next village, having fled in the night, with reports saying that the general had said he would rather fight the British at New Orleans than fight the Bell Witch.
Mm.
So from 1818 to 1820, the Bell Witch had pretty much ruined John Bell and Betsy Bell's lives. While the rest of the family sometimes fell foul of the witch, for the most part, they just bore witness to what went on.
Mm.
By December 1820, John Bell was bedbound, unable to recover from the attacks as he once used to. But even in his bed, the witch didn't leave John. She would slap his face and steal his shoes if he ever tried to get out of bed.
She's proper like poker, isn't she?
Proper knob.
Yeah.
A doctor had
Like it.
prescribed John 3 different vials of medicine for the health issues that he was suffering. And these were due to be taken daily and were given to him by his son. On the morning of December 19th, when his oldest son went to get the medicine, he noticed that the 3 vials that normally stood in the cabinet weren't there. Instead, there was just one bottle in the cupboard, a bottle that didn't look like any of the 3 that the doctor had prescribed. And not only that, it had a brown, like murky liquid inside.
Ew.
And from out of nowhere, the witch exclaimed, "I gave old Jack a big dose of that last night, which fixed him."
Oh.
On hearing this, he ran to his father's bedroom and found him completely unresponsive and barely breathing. He took the vial from the cabinet and emptied a tiny dose out and gave it to the cat. The cat gave a horrible shriek and rolled over dead.
Now, I'm sorry, but that I was with them on that. I was thinking, oh, that must be so annoying, mustn't it? Oh yeah, not getting any sleep, not being able to eat. That's well annoying. But now you've just done that. You're on your own,
Listen,
Bell family.
someone
Pricks.
said to me the other day, "Why is it when you're doing a podcast and you talk about all these horrible things, like all these people getting punched and hit and slapped and whatever else, and as soon as you mention an animal, you go, oh, this bit's going to be trigger warning, everybody." And
Yeah.
it's so funny. We will talk about like in the bone breaker case, his bones snapping and whatever else, and now we're like, oh, the cat died, and we're like, right, that's it.
All right, that's it. Hate everyone. Pod's over.
What's over?
Do you know what it is? It's because like I've got cats and I've got
You've
dogs,
also
and
got family, people.
yeah, but from my point of view, like I'm the one that brought and brings all of the animals into the house. I am responsible for them. They trust me to look after, and that's what animals do. They trust humans to do the right thing and look after them.
So do other
And
humans.
but this prick has just like poured a little bit out and given it to the cat. Like her life is worth nothing. That's what pisses me off. But carry
Yeah,
on.
all right.
Son
Gosh.
of a bitch.
So it turned out that what was in the bottle was poison.
Mm-hmm.
So, fearing the bottle could make it into the wrong hands and harm someone else, he threw the bottle into the fireplace, where it broke open and burst into bright blue flames. The very next day, John Bell was dead. The witch had finally succeeded after 2 years of torment. wearing him down until he just couldn't take it anymore. John Bell's funeral was the biggest that had ever been held in the county. People came from all over, whether it was to pay their respects or to see if the Bell Witch would show up. No one knows.
No one
But the
knows.
Bell Witch did make an appearance, laughing and mocking, singing cheery songs and hymns, as she didn't stop until the last mourner had left the graveyard. Things
Mm.
didn't quiet down at the Bell House. Now, no, things did quieten down at the Bell House now that the witch had
Oh.
succeeded in her endeavours. However,
I don't know why that tickled me.
because I started the sentence saying things didn't quieten down, and that was a lie. They did.
I know. Oh,
So,
all right. Done a complete 180 then.
yeah. So things did quieten down at the Bell House now that the witch had succeeded in her endeavours. However,
That's
she
what
had
I
one
heard.
last job to do, and that was to break Betsy up from her fiance, Joshua.
Oh,
The witch followed Betsy around, making it difficult for her to even spend any time with Joshua. She constantly told Betsy that she would leave her alone if she ended her engagement. And she continued to attack Betsy and make her life hell. And in April 1821, Betsy eventually relented and ended her engagement. After this, the witch visited Lucy, John Bell's widow, and told her that she was now leaving but would return in 7 years. In that time, the Bell family lived in peace until 1828 when the witch returned. But she returned with no malevolence. She conversed with John Bell Jr. on matters of philosophy, civilization, and Christianity. She remained for 3 weeks and then left, and left with the promise of returning in 107 years to visit
oh,
a descendant of John Bell's. But it seems that that didn't happen. But the Bell Witch certainly did not get forgotten. A book was written in 1834 and was the first written account of the Bell Witch, followed by a book written in 1894 called An Authenticated History of the Bell Witch, written by Martin V. Ingram. And its authentication comes apparently from a diary kept by the youngest of the Bell children, Richard, who was 6 at the time of the witch haunting. And it's
Dick
this
Bell.
book that I used as a reference for the
Oh,
episode. So,
nice.
the question I know you're all dying to ask:
Did they get another cat?
who was Kate Batts?
Who was Kate Batts?
So, Kate Batts was actually a local woman, alive throughout the whole Bell Witch saga, just living
No,
her life.
just
But she
getting on
was
with her stuff.
just getting on with her shit. But she was an odd, eccentric woman.
Oh,
A
okay. So
woman,
had to be
yeah,
her.
a woman that apparently felt cheated by John Bell after one of his land deals, the land deals that got him kicked out of the church. And because of her
Mm.
eccentric ways, the odd witch happenings at the Bell House was largely connected to Kate Batts, as was the Times. Whether Kate Batts was factually connected to the witch or just a rumour that gained traction, we shall never know.
Never know. Unless we speak to the Bell Witch and
Absolutely.
say, Miss Bats, is that you?
Was that you? Even
Mm.
though you were alive and you were not dead and sent your witchcraft into the house. But the Bell Witch, by all accounts, is still a massive thing in that area. There's like a Bell
Mm.
Witch cave. I think the house is still there. You can go and visit. Like it's a proper tourist attraction.
That's cool. I'm going to look
Yeah,
it up.
yeah, it's a proper tourist attraction that you can go and they some I can't remember what it was. It was a couple of years ago. Somebody went in there, or like a group of people went in there, and they heard all these like shrieks and moans, and they come running out of the cave, and there was like the hell witch, and they come running out of the cave. And a couple of weeks later, it turns out they found a mountain lion in the cave,
Jesus.
and that was what all the noise was. It was a fucking mountain lion. So, do we think the Bell Witch was just a mountain lion?
No,
No.
no. But it's weird because when you were saying like about he saw this black cat on the property, like
Dog.
stalking through the field, a dog
Mhm.
stalking through the field and that, and I thought, That's familiar to another story we've done. And then you said about the sun saw this big bird-like thing, but it was
Yeah.
massive. And I thought, oh, Mothman. And I
Could have
thought
been.
that. And then there was another bit. And then when you were talking about what was happening to them in the house with the scratching and all that, I was thinking of the Enfield poltergeist.
Mm.
Like, what if all these things are the same phenomena, but we've just never been able to actually suss out what it is? But we just create these stories that encompass all of those things and could just go, oh, it's probably that. It's probably a witch.
Yeah, well, the reason they put it
Weird.
down to a witch was because of its apparent shape shifting in form, from a
Yeah.
dog to this dog rabbit thing to a little girl in a tree or a bird, or um, and to this disembodied voice that go everywhere and know everything. That's why they
Right.
put it down to a witch as opposed to a haunting or a spirit of the dead or whatever else. But I'll let you in on a little secret, shall I?
Yes, please.
I found it very, very difficult to write this episode
Tell
because
the listeners the why, Sarah.
because I was writing and I was writing the sentence. The bells were all discussing blah blah blah, and then the witch chimed in, and I thought, no, she didn't.
She didn't know, did she?
Didn't know, did she? And that's exactly what my brain was doing. I was like, and then this dog appeared in the field, but it didn't know, did it?
It
So
was just a dog, though, wasn't
it was
it?
just a dog, and it was the 1800s. And this book, this account that was apparently written from a diary kept by a 6-year-old.
Hmm.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm, um, I found it very difficult to believe, but also there are so many written accounts of what happened. There were so many different accounts from the slaves that were working on the farm. One used
Hmm.
to get followed about by this dog all the time, and his wife even gave him like this witch ball that she'd made that was supposed to vanquish the spirit. The witch, appeared to him, took this ball off, it burst into flames. Like, there are so many different accounts of all these odd things. But I feel
Yeah.
like, do you remember the episode we did on mass hysteria?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's,
Because something else that bothers me about that is it's not like nowadays where pretty much 99% of people are going to be able to go, let me get a pen or let me get a phone or a computer or something and write down exactly what I saw.
yeah.
It would have been a completely different time. And I could be completely wrong about this, but what's the chances that all of those people were able to write and actually write down their account? What's the
Well,
chances that that 6-year-old child was able to write well enough to keep a diary and for it to be fully like legible for someone else
yeah.
to read it years later and go, oh, this is what she said happened?
Yeah. Well, I
Mm.
shall tell you this. John Bell educated his children. He made sure they went to the finest teachers and they were all very well educated. So they were all able to read and write. Whether he was able to read and write at the age of 6, I don't know.
Mm.
Um, but they were all very well educated, and some of them went off to do like very to do jobs and
Okay.
whatever else. But um
Yeah.
yes, I mean the
Don't know.
minister that came round, he couldn't read or write.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and I think uh Richard, the one who kept the diary from age 6, he that he must have kept another account as an adult, like a revisiting of the journey, because
Mm.
his writings are in this book, and they
Yeah.
are. It was written in the 1800s, so there's a lot of terminology in there that I didn't want to include.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in this bit looking back. I'll read you this bit. I've kept this bit in here, and it said this is from the diary of Richard. It says, the freaks it performed were wonderful and seemingly designed to annoy the family. It would take the sugar from the bowls, spill the milk, take the quills from the beds, slap and pinch the children, and then laugh at the discomfort of its victims. So that's not written by a 6-year-old. That would have been written by him as an adult,
Yeah.
recounting memories of what had happened.
Mm.
But I think even as a 6-year-old, you're very impressionable, aren't you? If all of the adults in the room are saying these things are happening by an entity, you're not going to be
Yeah.
like, actually, wait a minute, no, they're not.
No, and also 6-year-olds remember things very differently.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like even like well, even now, and neither of our two are six, but even now, they'll both say things, and me and Claire kind of look at each other as if to say that never happened, and we
yeah,
say to them that I don't know where you've got that from, but that never happened, and they're like, yeah, because you said this, and then you did this, and blah blah blah,
yeah,
and it's like, mate, that never happened.
yeah,
It's either a dream that has just stuck with you,
yeah,
or I don't know, or that what's the confirmation bias, something
yeah,
to do with that, where people
yeah,
kind of tell you points of something and your brain kind of makes up a conclusion or whatever. But I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of contact with her, and her saying that she's a spirit. If it was just noises and movements and things like that, but it's like, oh yeah, we had sat and had a whole full on conversation. I'm like, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's the thing, isn't it? You can kind of get on board with the scratchings and the noises and things like that. But what's
Yeah.
interesting is that these all of these things ramped up. They started off with these low energy
Mm,
things, and then they ended up in this spirit being able to communicate very, very
yeah.
well.
Yeah. She just stopped by like a few years later. We had a chat. We had a few deep and meaningful conversations, and then she went. And it's like, yeah, but did you did that happen? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um, I've
Don't
forgotten
know.
to talk to you about Bell's palsy, so
Oh
I'm going to
yeah.
do that now. Um, so yes, Bell's palsy. It was later discovered that the illnesses that John Bell was suffering from mimicked the symptoms of Bell's palsy. And Bell's palsy, I thought, they must have named it after John Bell, but actually
Mm.
they didn't. They named it after the man who came up with it, and I can't remember his name, but his surname was also Bell. It
Oh,
was something like
okay.
Christian Bell or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's thought looking back that his symptoms were Bell's palsy and
Hmm.
not that of a demonic witch,
Yeah.
malevolent witch. Um,
Malevolent spirit.
yeah.
Well,
So
the only reason that it made me think of it is because my cousin suffered with Bell's palsy,
yeah. And for
and
those
so
who
I'm
don't know
aware
what
of what it is. So
for those that don't know what Bell's palsy is, it is the paralyzation of one part of the face in particular, one part of the body, one
yeah,
half of it, and the face is paralyzed, so it droops down.
yeah,
It mimics that of a stroke, doesn't it? But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a stroke.
No.
But yeah, and it's thought that
Mm.
John Bell is the only person to have been killed by a spirit. Um, but that's the end of the Bell
Interesting.
Witch story.
Well, I enjoyed that apart from the cat bit.
I know, I do apologize.
Damn it. No, I really enjoyed that. I really I find it really intriguing to know if we're all just sitting here saying, no, it's all a load of rubbish, and there really genuinely is something like that. I just can't
It,
close my mind off to it altogether.
I know, but my brain, because I am so logical, my brain goes, even if it was like a ghost or a spirit,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
spirit can't talk, because to be able to produce legible or sound, you need
Mm.
vocal cords, you need breath, you need muscles to
I
be
don't
able to
know. I don't
produce
agree with that
sound.
because I think it's vibration, isn't it? Like you can make sounds. It's just whether it forms into words.
Yeah,
I can't get myself there with believing that there were like whole conversations and,
Yeah.
oh, she was saying this morning that, I should
The
break off
vicar
my
down the road.
relationship. And yeah,
Yeah.
I don't believe that. But I think sometimes there can be sounds that we can kind of maybe think that sounded like the name Kate. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because there's different things that will vibrate, like a bell,
Yeah.
things like that, uh, that make sound and make noises. So I don't think that in order to speak, you necessarily need like flesh and bones and vocal cords. I think it's all through the vibration. And speaking of which, I don't know if we've ever mentioned it on the pod before, but I was talking to someone about it yesterday. And did you know that they ring the bells, or they used to ring the bell in the local village churches to send out this vibration that made everyone feel good?
Oh.
Do you know that that is what they used to do? So they used to ring the church bells that used to send out this vibration throughout the whole village, and they used to do it first thing in the morning, and then again like later on in the day towards the
Yeah.
evening, and they would do that to make everyone feel good. And then just bit by bit, they've stopped doing it and stopped doing it. So
Oh.
now we're all moody crabby bastards.
Absolutely. Let's get yourself a bell.
Yeah, just get yourself a bell, bong your bell when you get up in the morning, and just be like, feel lully now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
don't know.
as much as when I do these episodes, I like to pick ones that I feel personally could be credible,
Yeah.
that I can't necessarily explain. And I'm like, actually, that does make me think, actually, like
Mm.
um the Roland Doe exorcism and things like that was
Yeah.
really well documented.
And
And
Amityville as well. I felt really there was a lot to do with Amityville that I was like, I
yeah.
buy that. I get that.
Yeah, that's what I like to pick episodes that I think, because there are loads of haunting episodes that we could do, but a lot of them I
Mm.
think I don't believe that. So therefore I don't like to cover it because I don't think that it's perplexing because it's not true. So
Mm. Or
obviously it
is
didn't
it?
happen. So I
Yeah.
like to cover episodes that I feel are quite perplexing in nature. This one for me, don't I genuinely
You
feel
think
like
it was a bit of a stretch?
I think it's a bit of a stretch, isn't it, to say that she was speaking and stuff. But
Yeah, that bit
let us know
has
what you think, though,
thrown
because
me
you all
off.
chose this story. So,
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And if there is stories that you now think, oh, Sarah's not going to believe that, so I may as well just not suggest it, just send it to me and I'll cover it because I believe all of that. So yeah, I'll do it.
cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And
You are
everyone,
welcome.
thank you for being part of episode 1 of season 4. Whoop, whoop. All right. Well, we shall see you all, and you will hear our dulcet tones again next week on Tuesday this time.
Yep.
There you go.
Farewell.
Bye.
Bye. That might be it for today's episode, but if you fancy even more weird and wonderful episodes,
Head over to perplexedpodcast.com and become a Blamley member for just $5 a month.
you'll get an extra episode every month, plus loads of juicy bonus bits, like really in-depth case files.
All the links are in the show notes.
Come hang out with us on socials too.
And don't forget to follow the show and drop us a cheeky review.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.